secret's safe with me.
Why am I such an idiot? Why am I such an idiot? Why am I such an idiot?
Sorry if I pried too hard or made you feel uncomfortable or...
What are you talking about? Oh, you mean... You know none of that was real, right? You're not looking too good.
I hate Jax from The Amazing Digital Circus. I think he's exactly the kind of character every show forces in when they want comic relief. The smug one, the annoying one, the one who thinks being mean is the same thing as being funny. I saw Jax and I immediately thought, really, this guy? I genuinely hated him. But the weird thing is, the longer I sat with this show and the deeper I got, the more I realized Jax is not just well written, he might actually be the most interesting character in the entire series. Because Jax is not a jerk for the sake of just being a jerk. He's something way more uncomfortable than that. He's the character who understands that nothing in this world is stable. Nothing in this world is safe, and nothing in this world is guaranteed to actually mean anything. And instead of breaking down from that, he basically turns it into a personality. And that's why he works. That's why it's so easy to hate on him. Jax is not just a character in The Amazing Digital Circus though. Jax is what happens when someone survives by refusing to care. And looking into this character, not only will you learn about the TV show, you'll really learn something about yourself. So give this video a chance, watch this to the end. It won't be too long. I promise you, you're gonna learn something huge in this, and it's gonna make you appreciate The Amazing Digital Circus so much more. PDT, this is our community, get ready, this is gonna be crazy. I'm about to go crazy deep. Listen, what makes Jax so good is that the show never has to sit there and explain him in some dramatic monologue. It does something smarter. It lets him reveal himself through behavior, timing, through the way he speaks, through the way he reacts to other people. He's constantly acting like the world is beneath him, but that does not make him powerful. It makes him exposed. Because people who act like nothing matters are usually not saying that because they're free. They're saying that because they're afraid. And Jax feels like the kind of person who figured out very early that caring too much is dangerous. That if you let something matter, it can be taken. If you trust people, they can disappoint you. If you become emotionally visible, somebody can use that against you. So instead of becoming soft, he became much sharper. Instead of becoming honest, he became performative. And instead of becoming open, he became entertaining. That's the real genius of this guy Jax. He's not just the funny one. He's really honestly the broken one. Listen, at first glance, Jax seems like the easiest character in the world to dismiss. Look, you're watching the TV show, he jokes too much, he provokes people too much, he acts like he's above everything. He does that thing where he acts like everything else is ridiculous, but it's never in a way that actually feels like intelligence. It just feels like arrogance. And that's why people hate him. Because he triggers a specific kind of frustration. The kind of character that makes you think, why you like this? But the more you pay attention, the more you realize that question might be the point. Why is he like this? Not because he was written to be annoying, but because being annoying is safer than actually being real. Because if Jax is constantly joking, mocking, acting like everything is dumb, then he never has to risk saying something true. He can always hide behind irony. He can always hide behind the bit. He always pretends that whatever he says was just a joke if it lands close to something actually real. It's not comedy, it's really psychology. He's literally a person building a wall out of humor and sarcasm. And that wall matters because The Amazing Digital Circus is a show that runs on the idea of psychological pressure. Nobody in this world is normal. Everyone is coping. Everyone is unwell in some way. Ragatha is still dealing with trauma from her family. Zubul is dealing with issues on her appearance in the world. Gango's dealing with her emotions. Kinger doesn't even have a memory. But Jax is interesting because he copes by becoming the opposite of emotional. Where some characters become anxious, Jax becomes detached. When some characters panic, Jax provokes. But this is where his philosophy gets so interesting, because Jax is not dumb, he's not stupid. He is just random chaos. He seems to operate from a belief, basically, that if the world is absurd, the only rational response is to stop pretending to be normal inside of it. And that is very different than being evil. It's more like he's made peace with the idea that morality here might not matter the way it should, but it's also what makes him feel so real. Jax says he's joking, but he always says things like he's not joking, which makes these lines land so hard, because he never sounds like he's trying to convince you of his worldview. He just sounds like someone who's already accepted it. That is the thing people miss about characters like Jax. They think depth is in the big emotional speech, but sometimes the deepest character is the one who avoids the speech entirely. All behavior, all subconscious beliefs. He's the type of character who tells you what he believes by how he survives. And this is what he believes basically. If the world is broken, then the person who stays most attached gets hurt the least. If everyone is trapped, then the person who acts like they do not care becomes the hardest to control. And then if emotional honesty is a weakness, then mockery is the real power then. That's his philosophy. Definitely a damaged and bad philosophy, but it is still a philosophy. And that's what makes his character so tragic, because if you look at Jax long enough, you start to realize that he not just dislike vulnerability, he may not even believe in that idea anymore. He acts like, connection is a joke, sincerity is a trap, caring about others is just being weak. When a character is committed to not caring, you start to wonder what happened before that. Nobody starts there. Nobody's born with this level of emotional armor fully on them. Something made him this way, or the very least, someone did. And that's where his character gets disturbing, y'all. Because now his cruelty is not just funny, it's really just a survival strategy. He's not merely being rude, he's controlling the social atmosphere in every room he enters. He makes people uncomfortable before they can even make him vulnerable. He starts the tension so he doesn't have to receive it. That's why he feels so sharp in some scenes. He's always testing the room. He's always poking, he's always pushing. He needs to know exactly where the boundary is so he can just stand just on the other side of it. But you know what's the best about Jax? You know what I love about him the most? He literally creates a philosophical contradiction that makes him feel alive. On one hand, he seems like someone who sees through everything, basically. He acts like he understands the joke of the world. He acts like he's above being emotionally pulled around by it. But on the other hand, the very fact that he performs that attitude so often really just tells us he's still trapped by it. You don't keep proving that you don't care unless caring is still a problem. You don't keep this mask on so tightly unless taking it off would actually matter. So in a strange way, Jax's whole personality is just evidence, the thing he's trying to deny. That's genius writing. His character is built on a contradiction. He's a skeptic who cannot stop participating in the game. He's detached, but he's never actually really free. That's why he feels deeper the more you think about him. Not because he becomes nicer, but because you realize he might be the character with the most to lose if the mask falls. You know who Jax really reminds me of though? Not a character from another show, but from a game, Undertale. If you play that game, you're a certain type of character who only starts making sense once you've realized they understand the rules of their world better than everyone else. A character like Sans. Maybe not in the avoiding reality way, but listen, let me cook. Literally on the surface, Sans is just lazy. He jokes around, he doesn't take anything serious, but the deeper you go, the more you realize he is not unserious. He's exhausted. He acts like nothing matters because from his perspective, everything resets, everything repeats, nothing sticks. That's why he's so laid back, right? So why care? Jax feels like he's operating on a similar wavelength. Not literally, but philosophically. He behaves like someone who has already decided that the world he's in doesn't have actual stable meaning. So instead of trying to fix it, he detaches from it. He turns it into some game. He becomes the one person who refuses to play it normally. He's not chaotic because he's random, but he's chaotic because he doesn't believe the rules deserve to be respected in the first place. And it's crazy because his philosophy connects to someone, a big philosopher, this guy named Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche had this idea that when people realize the world doesn't have any inherent meaning, they react in different ways. Some just collapse, some just cling to fake meaning, and some people become what he called nihilists. People who decide that if nothing truly matters, then nothing is worth respecting either. Jax feels almost identical to that. Not in just a dramatic, the world is meaningless type of way, a behavioral way. He acts like meaning is optional. Morality is flexible. Connection is disposable. But Nietzsche also warned about something else. That nihilism is not strength. It's a phase. It's a reaction. And if someone stays there too long, it doesn't make them powerful. It makes them empty. So now, when I watch Jax, I don't see a guy I used to hate. I see a character who was built around one terrifying idea. But what if the funniest person in the room is also the most afraid to be real? And that's why I think Jax might be the best written character in the Amazing Digital Circus. Not even exaggerating. Crazy development, right, yo? And maybe that's why he's so compelling. Because in a show full of chaos, Jax might be the character most committed to surviving it. Even if surviving means becoming the thing that everyone else hates. tadc. those are my thoughts on Jax as a character. I've been really thinking about this for a long time, and I wanted to make a video giving all my thoughts on his character because he goes really deep, and I feel like he's one of the best written characters I've seen in a long time. Hope y'all enjoy this video. You guys gotta subscribe. You gotta be here. You gotta like the video. Support this video if you actually want to see more of this. Discord, Twitch, all of that in the description. Have a great day. This is our community, PDT. We have fun here. I love looking into TV shows deeply like this, and I feel like we learned a lot. So have a great day, and as I always say, yo, PDT forever, PDT for life.